Whereas a person with only the powers of body natural to flesh and blood, and the powers of mind common to every speaking creature, cannot be reasonably called a bioweapon. Whereas the declaration of such persons to be bioweapons carries the implication that they are not persons. Whereas the declaration of an entire species to be not persons in this manner can only be a declaration of war against every polity composed in part or in total of members of that species. Whereas every nation in the Star-Sworn Alliance has at least one citizen of the species that has been declared not persons in this manner. We, the undersigned nations of the Star-Sworn Alliance, do declare ourselves to be in a state of war with the polity represented by the Galactic Senate until such time as it 1. Repeals the unlawful declaration of humans as bioweapons. 2. Amends its constitution to prohibit any such abrogation of a speaking people's rights, whether on a collective or individual basis. 3. Acknowledges that it is only a nation or alliance within this galaxy, and not the galaxy itself. 4. Extends formal recognition to all other nations, alliances, or otherwise designated polities in this galaxy. Declaration of War, delivered to the Galactic Senate by the Ambassador from the Star-Sworn Alliance. The Star-Sworn so-called alliance couldn't produce a unanimous resolution that liquid water is wet. And yet, not one of their nations is absent from the list of signatories to this declaration of war. So perhaps it is not so surprising that, despite our numerous economical and philosophical disagreements, we of the Dragon Pact, for once, find ourselves in agreement with the Star-Sworn Alliance. This declaration of humans to be bioweapons, and our use in combat to be a war crime, is nothing less than an attempt to strip those nations, which have predominantly human populations, of our ability to fight in our own defense. To demand that our citizens be prohibited from joining their own nation's armies, and rely entirely on foreign mercenaries for their defense is simply intolerable. Senators, I fear that your education in the sphere of history has been severely neglected, or else you would know that in order to prosecute an action as a war crime, you have to win the war. We are now at war. Having made that declaration, I am sorely tempted to see how many of you I can personally eliminate. It would be interesting to see whether the humans on your security force are more loyal to their jobs or to their species. However, it is generally imprudent to eliminate those among the enemy who have the authority to surrender. So I will refrain from committing any acts of violence at this time. Senators, I would advise you to accept the terms offered by the Star-Sworn Alliance quickly, for should you succeed in significantly wounding us before our inevitable victory, nothing less than unconditional surrender will be accepted. Speaking from our own history, you do not wish to learn what our esteemed rivals and reluctant allies in this war will do to war crimes treaties while in a state of total war. Good day, gentle beings. Statement by the Ambassador from the Assembly of the Dragon States. You see this? Human soldier in PT gear, holding out his bare arm to show a Tellurian oath scar. I'm blood sworn brother to Sergeant Prickles over there. Means that legally I'm a Tellurian. So this whole thing don't affect me nohow. Excerpt from an interview with a group of off-duty agents from the Tellurian Customs Inspection Service. I would like to take this opportunity to remind any opportunists in the galactic community that our lack of a standing army or space fleet should not be construed to imply we might be a soft target. The thing about war crimes is that they can only be committed by armies or unlawful combatants. For civilians defending their own homes, there are no war crimes. Only crimes, and self-defense can never be a crime. I would also remind anyone who wonders what civilians with only personal defense weapons could accomplish against an invading army, that most of our ships are privately owned and crewed by families who live on those vessels full-time, meaning that any weapon those ships carry is a home defense weapon and therefore cannot be illegal. Anyone thinking I might be bluffing should remember that we're just a bunch of civilians defending our own homes, which means we're only obligated to show as much or as little mercy as we each believe our God demands of us. And any three of us will have at least 5 different opinions on what that is. I'd not care to gamble on which opinion would win the debate, not when the violent ones tend to be faster on the draw. So I suggest you'll just let us mind our business, and we'll let you mind yours. Broadcast speech by the Mayor of Plymouth Space Rock. Nations that accept the Plymouth Space Rock as interpretation on legal and illegal weapons are few and far between. But as long as they stick to minding their own business, it's not worth what it would cost to root them out of their space rocks. And you have to admit, they do come in handy at times like this. Leaked personal remarks from the commander of a Star-Sworn Alliance Dragon Pact Joint Task Force.